Hi there, I'm James Osborne, the co-founder of the Recruitment Network, and this is the TRN Podcast. Every week, we unpack the strategies, the technologies, the processes and mindsets fueling today's top-performing recruitment agencies. We take a look behind the scenes of some great recruitment businesses, we listen to the real-life stories of those who have built those businesses, and we learn from some of the industry's greatest thought leaders to help you become both future fit and future relevant. So let's begin with this next episode of the TRM Podcast. Don't know if you know this, there's about, in the UK, for those of you in the UK, there's over 30,000 recruitment businesses in the UK at the moment, real recruitment companies. There's probably about 175,000 actual recruiters within that. So there's about 175,000 recruiters in there. And of those, about 9,000 solo operators. So I suppose what we're trying to say is it's a really busy, noisy marketplace as much as anything else now. So your ability to stand out is really, really quite tough. And consequently, because there's so many competitors out there, this is sort of what you all look like, which is a big field of ugly black and white cows. No offense to anybody on the call, but there's a really important expression we use in our social scaling program, which is about how to be the purple cow in your marketplace. So how do you stand out from all the other cows in the field? So people stop, they notice you, they talk about you, they want to hang out with you in essence. And nobody wants to hang out with that bunch, but you certainly want to hang out with this cow, but in theory. So social scaling and all the stuff we talk around at the top of your sales funnel is all about how do you be the purple cow in your market? How do you be the brand authority, the lead, the thought leader in your market? So people, customers and candidates want to hang out with you, want to do business with you, rather than you having to outreach to them all the time as well. So imagine this on the sales funnel. You're, I'm sure, running some form of sales funnel strategy and a channel strategy at the top of that. So LinkedIn is part of this process, sits at the top of your brand strategy, and it's how you fill up the top of your sales funnel by adding more value to your marketplace, by being truly visible so everyone knows about you, and doing that at scale with a bit of volume as well. And that's where AI comes into it. So what we're going to talk about today is how do you use LinkedIn to become a real brand authority? How do you get it to be one of your proper channels that is feeding you leads from businesses that you actually want to work with, your ICP, as opposed to it's just noise making on social media for vanity metrics. If you're going to use LinkedIn, first thing you need to do is understand the algorithms. Obviously, the algorithms are changing all the time. So we're continuously sharing with members about what the algorithms are doing and how to change that. It's a big part of the social scaling program and what they actually do. Just to give you a quick, I don't know how many of you on the call know how the algorithms actually work, but just to explain it in a very quick sense, so you just get your head around this. When you post something on LinkedIn, the algorithms quickly judge your content, decide what they want to do with it, and they decide, is it spam, is it high quality, or is it low quality? Simple as that. So as soon as you post something, it immediately sits into one of these three buckets: spam, low quality, or high quality. So obviously what you want to do is make sure you're getting out of the spam bucket and getting into the high quality bucket, I suppose, as much as anything else. Once you've done that, what then happens, the algorithms then take your content and they stick it in front of a small number of targeted people within your network, within your ICP. And what they do within the first sort of 20 seconds, 30 seconds, a couple of minutes will determine what happens to your content next. So in other words, they take your content, decide whether it's spam. If it's not spam, they move it to a group of people. They put it in front of a bunch of people on LinkedIn. And if those people interact with it in some format, then the algorithms go, this is good content, and they'll carry on sharing it. If they don't, then it gets basically put back into a spam bucket. Does that make sense? So there's a whole strategy when you're building your content about how to get out of the spam bucket and into the high quality bucket, and at the same time, how to make sure people are interacting with your content within that sort of 30, 60 seconds type stuff. The timing of this is important. The golden hours, what we refer to it, is important. So the timing of your posts, you need to know your golden hours for your customers. And you also need to think about how you're creating things like dwell time, which is stopping people and making them stay on your post for a period of time, because that helps the algorithms kick in. Again, I'm rushing through this just to give you some ideas to sort of think about. Once that happens, the algorithms then really kick into action, and they presume your quality is your content you just posted is quality, but they're then going to sense check it against three other things. They're going to sense check it against your actual LinkedIn profile. So did you just write some random content to try and get likes and followers, or did you write some content that's actually aligned to who you are, is applicable to your LinkedIn profile? They then also look at your direct network to see how relevant your content is to the people that you're hanging out with. And they also look at your previous content as well, to make sure that this isn't some sort of random blog that you've written or a post that you've written to get likes, but it actually aligns with actually your themes and topics and how you write posts in the meantime. So the algorithms is looking for 4 things. So your whole content strategy needs to make sure all these 4 things are aligned, because if they are, then your content gets shared to a much, much bigger audience, which is when you start getting viral content, etc., which is what you want. If it's not, it basically stays in that little group of people, and that's where it sticks and stays, basically. So what you're looking for with your content right now is quality content, applicability, relevance, and impact. It's really, really important. Some of you will know that your content sometimes you're looking at content and it's like 3 weeks old. People are still getting messages or posts on LinkedIn going, "Happy Easter." Like, what? That was 3 weeks ago. Because actually what's happening is the algorithms are tricking you to looking at your content, and they're looking at engaged content as opposed to timing of the content as well. So this is all about how the algorithms work and what you're doing. So what we're saying is the algorithms are changing continuously. You need to adapt your methodology to how the algorithms work. Otherwise, you can do as much as you like on social media, as much as you like on LinkedIn, and nobody's going to see it, and you won't get any traction, which is what a lot of people are getting at the moment. They're doing a lot of stuff, and they're getting bugger all views or bugger all conversions off the back of it. This is what we focus on social scaling, which is, it's a free program, by the way. There's no charge for this. So we just want to make sure that we're not wasting time on social media. It's actually moving the needle as much as anything else. And you'll see all the content on the platform if you're interested in that. So you need to understand how to beat the algorithms. You need to understand how you grow and build a proper community. And most importantly, about how you turn content into pipeline, how you convert that into revenue. The trouble with LinkedIn, it's a vanity platform. Ultimately, you spend hours and hours over the weekend trying to think of a really compelling, amazing post that you're going to write. You then write it, stick a photograph up of your children or something to try and get an extra couple of likes and followers. And then you spend the next 2 hours looking at how many people have liked it, and you keep going back to it, just checking in. And then you get really flattened that only 32 people have liked it, and they were your mates anyway. That's the sort of the journey that most people tend to go through. Give me a thumbs up if you agree with that. That feels a little bit similar to what you experience yourself. So, but that's sort of what happens, right? It's because we're not thinking about the strategy, and we're not thinking about how the algorithms work to make sure we can beat the algorithms in the first place. This is about generating revenue from LinkedIn. This is not about just getting likes and followers and that type of stuff. We've got some guides on this. Again, if you want a copy of this, I'll ping it across to you, which is how do you actually master the LinkedIn algorithms as a recruiter. We'll share those with you. Have a look at it, build your strategy around it. If you're building AI agents, which hopefully you are, and you're using some of our agents to help you with your LinkedIn strategy, you put the algorithm document into your agent so that it also understands how to build the algorithms and so on and so forth. Okay, now when we go through the social scaling program, there's basically a journey that we take you through. I won't go through all this in detail, but basically it's the step by step to make sure that you're moving from making sure you're getting maximum visibility with your profile, and you've got your settings set up in the first place in the right way, all the way through to building a social calendar and plan that is built with AI to do all the heavy lifting for you. So you've continuously got content that's being put out on social media all the time. We've got a whole guide to all this. This is all coming from the social scaling program, all the way through to the end point, which is about how do you build a proper community on LinkedIn and then take people off LinkedIn into your personal community area, if that makes sense. That's when you've really got LinkedIn working well for you, because you're creating one-to-one meetings with everybody. So a bunch of things to think about. I'll touch on some of these just to give you some things to take away today. And remember, I'll share these slides with you afterwards. First thing you need to think about is get your profile page right so you get the most visibility. Most people haven't done a lot of this type of stuff. So we talk a lot about how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. We've built a really cool agent and a guide on how to do this properly to make sure your profile itself is optimized, very obvious. You also need to think about your settings as well. A lot of you haven't even gone into your settings on LinkedIn and ticked off and unticked certain boxes to ensure that you're getting the most visibility. So do that. If you look at view settings on your LinkedIn profile, you can see on the screen here, click on that. There'll be a button in the settings. There's a section called visibility. You go into that, and you've got all these different buttons here that you need to tick on and tick off, etc., etc. Go through these. I've got a whole guide for you on what you need to keep on and off, which will make sure you're getting maximum visibility with the algorithms through the search, so when people are searching for keywords, etc., and so on and so forth. Again, most people I speak to haven't even gone into this visibility section before, so they didn't even know it existed. So make sure you're doing that. And again, I'll share these slides with you to tell you some of the things that you need to be thinking about. Think about your ICP. Obviously, before you create a content strategy, you need to just understand the people that you're reaching out to. So build your ICP document, build your ICP plan, understand their buying journeys, their content outreach preferences, what content they're looking for, what time of the day are they hanging out, what sort of style are they looking for, etc., etc. We've got a really cool guide called the Personas and Pyramids document. Again, if you want that, just give me a thumbs up and I'll send it through to you. You can complete this, save it, and then again, when you're building your AI agents that are doing the heavy lifting, not the writing, but the heavy lifting of your social media content, they are speaking and building content directly relatable to your ICP, to your personas that you're mapping out. So again, build this out first before you start creating content, or even a content plan for that matter. Who is your ICP? What do you know about them? So important, that ideal customer profile. What are we trying to do? Again, as an example with the agents, this is an agent I built ages ago, actually, called a content planner, a social scaling content planner. If you just type in the name of your marketplace and geography, so let's say you recruit teachers in Edinburgh, you type in teachers education in Edinburgh, and it will do two things for you. It will, first of all, build out your ICP document. So you've got that, which is cool. And secondly, it will then build out for your content plan, actually write the content for you, schedule it, have it all ready to go on your social media posts as well for the following week, which is sort of pretty cool. So if I type in here, fintech business in London into my agent, it will then produce for me my ICP document, which is brilliant. I've got a nice clear document, it looks a little bit like this. And then it will also build out the content plan as well, write the actual blog post for me, etc., etc. All I've got to do is schedule them in LinkedIn and off we go. Again, if any of you want a copy of that agent, I'll ping it across to you. Just give me a yes in the chat and we'll get that sent across to you as well. So you can have a little go with it. You can save the agent to your chat GPTs and then you own the agent. You can do what you like with it, but it will work for you as much as anyone else. Obviously the smart recruitment companies and the smart recruiters now are going through like our traction program and learning how to build these agents themselves. So then it's really specific to their ICP. It's learning about their ICP as it goes, your ICP as it goes, and so on and so forth. With one of mine, I've got it. So it's looking back at the last 2 weeks worth of content from my ICP to identify in the last 2 weeks what was the most engaged bit of content and keywords. So then when I'm writing my new bit of content, it's talking directly to that. Makes sense? So it's pretty cool. So just to give you some ideas. Okay, cool. Couple of things to note when it comes to your social media strategy. I'll keep talking about this until I'm blue in the face, but it's reality. Sanity versus vanity. I don't care how many likes you've got, how many followers you've got. It's all vanity metrics. It means absolutely nothing. What I care about is how many of your ideal customer profiles, your ICPs, are actually engaging with you. So who's going to buy from you and are they engaging with you? The rest is vanity metrics, so someone can sell you some blueprint or something. Focus on your ICP, focus on engagement. So when you're looking at your analytics, part of what we do in the social scaling program is we analyze weekly the analytics of all the people on the course. You can see what's working, how many impressions you're getting, how many followers you got, what posts are working the best. Like you can see here, this is my example here. So that's all good and it looks fine. And I know what's working. I can see how many likes and comments and engagements I'm getting and so on and so forth. So brilliant. But that is vanity stuff. What I really care about is how many of these people are converting into engaged conversations with me, my ICPs. Couple ways to check this. So again, look at your analytics as I talked about, but also have a look at your social selling index score as well. If you haven't done that already or you're not doing it, just type in linkedin.com/sales/SSI and you'll get a page like this. It looks a little bit like this, where it will give you a score. The higher your score, the more the algorithms are working in your favor. It will even tell you what you need to do to improve your score here in these different areas here. So I'm currently 78 out of 100. Great. I've still got 22 to go, so I'm still working hard on my profile to make sure the algorithms are continuously working in my favor. So if you haven't done it yet, just go onto that linkedin.com/sales/SSI, have a go at that, have a link on that, and see what your score is, and then we'll come up with a plan for the next 30 days to improve your score from 78 to 82 and 82 to 85 and so on and so forth. Also think about the types of people that you're engaging with on LinkedIn. I sort of break it down into 5 different types of people. You know them. So hopefully none of you are all of these, but you'll know these people. So you've got your ICP profile, obviously in the middle. That's who you're targeting. You've got the voyeurs, the people who do nothing else on social media apart from just make noise all the time. You've got the gullibles who are just resharing without actually looking at what they're resharing. You've got the gurus, the so-called gurus who are creating fake news and using engagement pods to get traction. And obviously you've got the trolls, which you're always going to get. Remember that the more vocal, noisy you are on social media, the more likely you're going to get trolled by someone or people, I get trolled all the time. No big deal. I don't really care about it. Doesn't matter. You just ignore it. But just be prepared for that. Some people find that a little bit emotionally challenging. But you get different types of people on LinkedIn. Make sure you're only hanging out with the right people. There's a way of doing that. So, it's a quick trick for you if some of you are interested. If you want to reduce the amount of noise that you're seeing on LinkedIn in your news feed, there's a little technique that you can do so you can reduce or target your newsfeed as much as you want to. So here's a quick trick for you. If you go into LinkedIn, go into the search box and type in asterisk and search. And then what will come up then is all of your contacts, basically, that you've got in there from the search. You can then filter that search based on industry, whether a top match, is it a post you're looking for, are they a first, second, or third connection, and so on and so forth. And then you can save and bookmark that URL that you see at the top there. So that's based on a filtered search. So every time I use LinkedIn now, I'm not looking at this random feed of thousands of people and then getting massively distracted. I'm looking at a filtered search of people that I want to see in my news feed, basically. So real simple little technique there. Absolutely brilliant if you want to stay focused on your ICP as much as anything else. Again, I'll share these slides with you anyway, and you can see a little bit more about how that works. On the social scaling program, we talk about the Vespa model, with some of the core principles about how to beat the algorithms and how to get real traction on social media. VESPA stands for value, empathy, structure, proof, and action. It's a very simple way of just remembering the content you're building. Is it landing properly? Value being, are you adding value when you're posting your content, or are you just trying to flog stuff all the time? Entertainment gets likes, we know that. Education gets engagement, far, far better. It's about adding value to your ICP. So that's key to the social scaling program, is how do you continuously write content that's adding value, not just trying to sell stuff all the time. E is for empathy in Vespa, which is basically looking at what the content would look like for the reader to receive it. So how do you stop people in their tracks? Does it look like a purple cow? Are people going to stop and read it? Does it make them feel good about you, etc.? What are they thinking when they see it? The S is the structure. So these are the type of structure that gets traction in getting people to stop and utilize and look at your content. P is for proof, using data to back up what it is that you're talking about. And A is for action, making sure you have calls to action on your social media posts, because the call to action is going to get people to do something, create engagement, create conversations, etc. So don't give your customers or your readers excuse to do nothing, basically. So that's the Vespa model that we go off and cover off in social scaling, but it just gives you some ideas of a bit of a structure to have a look at a little bit. Obviously, add to that consistency. Social media is all about consistency. You need to be posting regularly. I suggest to people 3 to 4 times a day. It does work with the algorithms, and if you're using AI properly, it takes you no more than 15 minutes a day to do that. Especially if you're following the program that we've got, and the calendar that we've got, and also using the agents that we've got. But you need that consistency and quality that sits behind that. So look at your last 3 LinkedIn posts that you've written and just have a quick check about them. Do they cover off that Vespa framework? No, was there value in there? Was it a good structure? Did it create a call to action for someone to go and do, etc.? So just have a look at your old posts and see how that aligns with maybe the Vespa framework. And then there are some best practices when it comes to content posting that you could utilize. Obviously, the first hook is really important. So think about how you're stopping people in their tracks, that bold statement, that compelling question that's going to stop people go, oh, I'm going to read the rest of your content or the next few lines as well. So the perfect hook is really, really important. We know these types of subject lines work the best, especially with the algorithms. So how to find a Python developer in 5 minutes, or 10 things you should never do as a recruiter, or whatever it is. Use these types of lines, just changing the wording, obviously, and then use those as your subject styles, and that really, as your subjects, that really stops people in their track. As I said, think about the times that you're posting. You need to know your golden hours, so you need to understand that. If you don't know your golden hours, your content may not land at all and not even be seen at all. So you identify your golden hours for your ICP, and then you schedule your content to go out during those golden hours. To help you with that, have a look at Sprout Social as an example. Some of you, I'm sure, are familiar with Sprout Social. It will help you understand exactly what your golden hours are for your ideal customer profile. That's when you schedule your content for. Fairly obvious, but actually many of you don't do that. We post content when we've got time to do it, as opposed to the best time when it's going to go viral. Think about using video in your content, really important. I think LinkedIn is becoming a video platform, and we've had some great successes with members who have gone down a video strategy. Real simple, keep it to about 30 to 60 seconds, no more. Any more than that, you start getting marked down on the algorithm. So keep it short and sweet. You don't need to be massively edited with microphones and all this crazy cool stuff that's going on. It just needs to be natural. That's what people want to see more than anything else. And then one of the profiles or the techniques that we follow when it comes to our content writing. This is an easy one for you to take away today, is the jab, 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 right hook methodology. It's Gary Vaynerchuk. If you're not familiar with him, he's been around for decades. He's a bit Marmite, but actually he's very good. And the methodology you can follow with your content plan is a jab, 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 right hook. Principle being, if someone's going to buy from you or do something, some form of activity or a call to action, that's called a right hook. You're trying to knock them out. In order to knock someone out first, you have to jab them 3 or 4 times first. So don't just ask someone to come on, here's a post on LinkedIn and buy from me. Jab them a few times first. That gets the algorithms working for you. And then you come in with the right hook and you'll get far more conversions and far more engagement off the back of that. So imagine you're writing content during a week. You might have 3 bits of content which are jabs and 1 which is a right hook. Okay, so the idea with the jabs, you're providing value first, the algorithms are warming up, and then when you right hook them, the algorithms kick in your favor and you get far greater levels of engagement. So it's simple as that. So to think about that, similar to our styles of people we have on LinkedIn, you have different content styles. You have personal profile posts, which is where people are sort of getting to know you, the human behind the LinkedIn profile. Some people take this too far and they're posting pictures of their babies every day and what they have for breakfast and that type of stuff. That's all vanity stuff. It just gets you likes and things from random people. So personal profiles are good. Don't go too far with it, please. You've got engagement posts, which is getting your audience to engage with you and your content as a thought leader. And then you have the call to action post, which is where you're getting someone to physically do something off the back of it. So here's a couple of examples, personal profile posts. So you can put a picture of your kids up and that sort of stuff, that's fine. But not if you're doing it all the time and not if it's just a random, here's a picture of my kids, do you want to hang out? It has to have a meaning behind it, a link to what it is that you're sort of talking about. So here's an example of a personal profile post. It's a jab. No one's going to buy from me because of that, but it will warm up the algorithms. So if I look at that particular post, that had over 200,000 impressions, of which 121,000 were relevant. In other words, that were in my ICP. Over 1,000 reactions and 64 comments. That's good. So that's a good post as a personal profile post. People get to know me a little bit, has a bit of meaning, and it creates the algorithms in my favor. No one's going to buy from me off the back of that, vanity. But you do another engagement post. I do another engagement post, which we do here, as you can see. You follow up with that. This is now kicking the algorithms in. Again, nice amount of impressions and reactions and comments. You then do your third post, which could be a call to action post. As you can see here, there's an example one. At the bottom, the call to action is comment yes below if you want whatever it is that I'm talking about. And look at the engagement this got here. So 42,000 impressions, 25,000 were relevant, 359 people within a week, a couple of weeks, have basically commented yes. So that's all those people I've got to follow up with. What a great opportunity to then talk to them about this conversation, move them out of the off LinkedIn and into another sort of strategy. So can you see that sort of journey? Jab, 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 right hook, or personal profile post, engagement post, and then a call to action post type stuff. You see where we're sort of coming from this. It's a nice, simple way of following a sort of a process. You can use AI to help you with all of this, as you know, and we're building lots of agents to help the members do this on their social media strategy. It's an 80-20 rule, though. Just be really clear with this. Don't just take content through AI and then just post it. It will look like posted AI content. The algorithms will know it, and you'll get called back on it. So use AI to do the heavy lifting. So coming up with your content ideas, sourcing data, identifying who the thought leaders are that you want to target, etc., etc., etc. Write the posts, but to the point where you can then check it and rewrite them or finish them off. And then so you're spending your time posting, commenting, engaging, and connecting. So again, this is where AI kicks in. So all that stuff I just covered off, we're going to get a whole bunch of agents to do all that stuff for you. So you're spending more time following up with customers, engaging with them, commenting, all that stuff, the stuff that actually lands and gives you the traction on social media as well. So that's where you can use AI. All sorts of ways of doing it. You could just use the basic, simple examples where you're just chatting to, let's say, ChatGPT and asking it to help you build some content for you. That's fairly basic. I don't think it works particularly well if you're just chatting to it like that, because you're not going to get the proper quality of the content that's coming out. But you can use this. This will help you a little bit. And then you can ask ChatGPT to come up with some ideas of content around a particular subject.
and it will find the content for you, build out the content plan, etc., etc. So that's all fine. But what I would be doing is building an agent to do that properly. So you've trained it to think and behave in the way that you want it to think and behave. It writes content in your style. It talks directly to your ICP. It's learning as you go, etc., etc., etc. And then when you've done that, you can then build out your whole content plan for the week. So the agents are building the content plan for you. And then you can then build out your jab, 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 right hook plan. So to write 3 or 4 bits of content per day is really, really simple, because 80% of it is all being done by AI now. And it's being cleverly targeted because it's linked to your ICP, it's linked to your activity, and so on and so forth. And then from there, you can spend your time doing engagement, which is where you make money on LinkedIn. So engaging people properly and moving from just being a broadcaster of content to try and get followers and likes, to actually starting conversations with people, so you can take them out of LinkedIn to have conversations with them one-to-one, on a Zoom call, etc., etc., etc. So you need to think about how you're going to encourage, nurture, create conversations on LinkedIn. You've got to build your network first to be able to do so. So make sure you've got your max out, your 30,000 connections. Once you've done your 30,000 connections, you can then create even more connections. There's a couple of ways of doing that. By having a newsletter, for example, and also by having followers, which we'll talk about in a second. But then make sure you're maxing out your connections. Something that you may not know is that if you've got unaccepted invitations, so if you ask a bunch of people to connect with you and they haven't accepted your invitations, if you leave those in your, basically your sent box, of your emails, LinkedIn will really pull you down on that big time. So what you need to do is regularly go into your connection section on your on LinkedIn and empty out and get rid of any invitations that you sent out 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, 2 months ago, and delete those and clear those up. Otherwise, LinkedIn will spam you back and hold you back. So if you need to do that, just go up into your network. Go into your network here. You can see this is my network here, all my connections. So I'm just under that 30,000 because I'm continuously clearing them up all the time. These are invitations that have gone out. If I click on show all on my invitations and I go to all my sent invitations, so you can see here I've got 144 people that I've sent invitations to that haven't yet accepted. Now, the ones I sent today and yesterday, fine, leave those. But there's some on there 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. They're clearly not going to accept my invitation. So you go on to withdraw, 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 and you remove them out of that. You can connect with them again later. That's not a problem. But at the moment, LinkedIn think you're not interesting. So therefore, they will spam you down on that. So think about withdrawing your sent invitations that have been not accepting your invitations. Okay, cool. And there's other stuff that you could use as well. Obviously, connections, followers. So I've got about just under 30,000 connections. I've also got about 45,000 followers. So that gets me up to into the 70,000 as a group. I've also got a newsletter as well that I own, where I've got subscribers to my newsletter, which takes me over 100,000 connections now. So when I'm writing content, I'm talking specifically to over 100,000 of my ICP, not just the maximum number of connections that I've got as well. So think about how you're using things like the LinkedIn groups. They definitely do work, but they work in particularly well if you're using them in conjunction with a newsletter. So these are the LinkedIn groups that you can join. Join the groups, the ones specifically for your marketplace. But then the way you get activity within those groups is you build a newsletter, like you can see here. This is my newsletter of recruitment news and advice. Got 15,500 subscribers. I create content in that, and then I push that into the groups. That then gets me significant traction, and it pulls people out of the groups to become subscribers of my newsletter. So every time I write a new newsletter, all of my subscribers get notified as well. So it's a really nice way of building up loads and loads of bigger network than just what everyone else has got on through their connections type stuff. And linking those two things together, newsletters into groups, works brilliantly well as a strategy if you want to get high traction as well. So a couple of things to think about. Withdraw those connection requests, plan your first newsletter, work out your newsletter to group strategy. It works really, really well. And then from there, you can engage with them, creating conversations, etc. This is where you make money in LinkedIn ultimately, is getting people to have conversations. So think about how you start conversations first and foremost. So think about the post that you're writing, ask questions, tag people for their expertise so they are forced to engage with you, etc. Like I've done here as an example. Create a bit of a stir, have a bit of an opinion about something that goes against the grain without being too aggressive. tell a story with no ending, so it goes on. So these are things like, these are clever ways, strategies to get people to write something, comment or something and engage with you or get into a conversation with you. Something as simple as that. But a lot of people don't bother doing this. So you can write a great post and then basically people look at it and just go, oh, okay, and they walk off. You want them to do something off the back of your post. Here's just a whole bunch of examples. We've got loads more that we talk about in social scaling. But again, I'll share these with you so you can have a look at these later on. And then you've got to comment on your ICP posts as well. So as much as it is about writing content, it's about commenting on people, engaging with people on LinkedIn. Don't spend hours on this, for God's sake, because you've got plenty of other stuff to do. But you need to spend time commenting on your ICP posts. And there's a couple of ways and techniques to be able to do that to make sure you're getting significant traction at the end of your relationship with LinkedIn. So again, go back into your newsfeed, get a focused newsfeed so you're only looking at your ICPs. And then follow what we call the 4-3-2-1 framework, which is really easy. So you plan, you block out 10 minutes a day or twice a day. And in that 10 minutes, you just make yourself a coffee. We call it a coffee commentator moment. And in that 10 minutes, you do the 4-3-2-1 framework. So you do 4 comments on your ICP. Make sure you've got your ICP notifying, you're going to be notified about your ICP's content. So you can see it and then you can then comment on it. That creates engagement with your ICP. You 3 times, you do 3 influencer comments per day. So find someone who's an influencer in your market and engage with them. You do 2 team network boosts per day without creating engagement pods. And 1, what we call open door document or comment per day, I should say. Same sort of thing. That's called the 4-3-2-1 methodology. So basically, imagine the scenario, Sunday night or a Friday afternoon, you're creating all your content, you're using your AI agents to create all your content for you. You then schedule that all on LinkedIn to go out during the following week. So your jab, 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 right hooks, your Vespa strategy. And then during the week, you're just blocking 10 minutes out every day, 11 o'clock on a Monday, 3 o'clock on a Monday to do basically your 4-3-2-1 from a commenting and engagement point of view. That is enough to get you serious traction on LinkedIn if you follow that process. Obviously, there's a lot more detail to that as much as anything else, but that's why we call it a commentator coffee break. Go and make a coffee while the coffee's boiling, just go and the kettle's boiling, just do your 4-3-2-1 sort of plan. And then from there, the strategy is to take people out of LinkedIn and bring them into your own community. If any of you are working with me at the moment directly, you know we're working hard on building communities with the members. We've got some great examples of this at the moment, absolutely off the scale stuff, including one I just had a call with someone where we just built an online community platform for them to use. Bring people out of LinkedIn once you've got engagement and you've got conversations with them, get them into some form of community relationship so you can then nurture them from there. That's the real smart strategy at the moment. That's where you can build proper loyalty. That's where they invite other people to hang out with you and so on and so forth. So that's why we talk a lot about your LinkedIn strategies, a channel strategy. It's about visibility. Then it's about getting engagement, and then it's about turning that engagement into a community. Think about that, have a plan for it, have a strategy for that, which is why we called social scaling and why we built it as we have done it. And we've got lots of examples of members and recruitment companies who have built really cool community strategy plans. These are the guys at Harrington Star who've gone really far with theirs about how they build, TV content and video content and event strategies, etc. It's a proper community in the fintech industry where people are engaging with this stuff, hanging out with them, almost waiting for their content to come out next type stuff. And then some of you have heard me talk about the SBPM network, which is Sarah's business. So her whole entire strategy on LinkedIn is about driving people to her platform. So jab, 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 right hook being come and join the community, click here and off they go. And she's now building out this community that you can see here. And this is her links on social media. And then from here, she's now dragging people off social media into her platform that she's actually built. It looks a little bit like this, which is a proper community platform that she owns specifically for her marketplace. And it's absolutely brilliant. She likes pink, by the way. Nothing wrong with that. There you go. And again, we've got loads of examples of these communities that we're building. Here's a one for an HR leaders that we built and so on and so forth, like LinkedIn, I suppose, as much as anything else.
And that's a wrap for this episode of the TRN podcast. Thank you for listening. And make sure you grab the free episode toolkit. All the links are in the description. And click follow in your podcast app so you can get notified of our next episode. If you want to get more out of your business and your people, then please unlock 30 days from our platform, TRN World, for free. And help yourself to all our training content, our guides, our templates, and peer insights. You can get started at trnworld.com/trial. And finally, if you found this episode of the TRM podcast of use,